And our third main topic today gets submitted to us by Aria, who writes, what do you think about Disney moving Black Widow and some other films' release dates? At least it wasn't moved another year. Do you think it could do better than Mulan and Raya and the Last Dragon, considering it's being released in the theaters and Disney Plus? Since this is a long-awaited movie, I think so. All right, guys, thanks a lot for sending that in. And this, of course, was breaking news as we were wrapping up the show yesterday, as we were getting towards the end of the show yesterday. The news came out that Black Widow, as we predicted, was going to move again and probably not move by much, and it did. But as we did not predict, not only did it move dates to July 9th, it also now is going to be a theatrical and Disney Plus premium release. Now, of course, there were a lot of other moves as well. Everything from Ryan Reynolds' Free Guy to Cruella. Luca had a big change. We'll cover all those here in a second. One of the big questions that I had people asking me is like, why would they do this? And listen, it completely caught me by surprise, Rob. The move didn't surprise me. The fact that they were going to do theatrical and premium did surprise me. I suppose, though, upon further reflection, it really shouldn't have surprised me all that much because they have already pushed this thing as far as they can. It obviously falls in some sort of sequential order with some of the other movies they need coming out. So they can only push things so far. And here's the magic number. Here's the magic number. The reason they did this comes down to a single magic number, Rob. And that magic number is 71 million. What is 71 million? 71 million is the amount of theatrical money that Raya and the Last Dragon just made. 71 million. Now, obviously, if this was a year and a half ago, Rob, the release of Aria and the Last Dragon would have made a lot more than that. It would have made a lot more. I'm not saying it would have been $1 billion film, but it would have made a lot more than that. Disney, I believe, is looking at this and they're going, well, we can't push it any further. We don't think that by July, the theaters will be up and running again. We'll be on the road to recovery, but we're not going to be at a place yet where Black Widow's going to be able to make $400 million in the box office yet. So what do? Even though Mulan Premium Access release on Disney Plus was a bit of a disaster, even though Raya release on Premium Access on Disney Plus was a bit of a disaster, they've really had no other choice. Let's put it in theaters, get as much money there as we can, but we're also going to have to make it available on this. And when you look at it in those terms, I guess I understand it. I guess it makes sense. It still totally surprised me that they did it, but I suppose it makes sense. Rob, when you look at that whole scenario about Disney now making that move, how much of a surprise was it to you? And what do you see the rationale behind it and why they made this move?
Well, I mean, as we've talked about, you have these tentpole movies that cost an extraordinary amount of money sitting on shelves, and they're just racking up interest payments. And it's getting to the point where they're stacking up their movies, especially with Marvel. You're launching a second series. There's there's 3 other Marvel movies that are supposed to come out this year, waiting in the wings. Shang-Chi got moved from summer to fall. Eternals, will that move? Spider-Man's coming out from Sony. We've got Loki. We've got the Hawkeye series. I mean, I think that Disney had to make a choice, and I'm sure it's a tough choice. And if they didn't, they could open these movies again. And I just think every time they open one of these movies, John, I'm watching, they might as well put money on a bonfire and burn it because it's money that they're losing. The theaters aren't open enough. The capacity isn't there to make it worth opening these films. And I think in a way their hand has been forced. How long do they sit on their movies? I mean, they've got to do something. And I think ultimately the decisions made, especially with Marvel, they're like, okay, we've never really had a flop. Marvel's been increasing their numbers. We know that they've released 23 movies. All of them have collectively, if you average them out, $1 billion each. That gross is amazing. Maybe Black Widow is the one movie they open this way. They realize they're probably going to take a bath on it, but they have to do something. They have to get theaters open. They have to get people going back. And I think the decision was made that Cruella and Black Widow are going to be sacrificial lambs. I mean, and then they push back the rest of the slate, hoping to save it. You know, if Shang-Chi opens in September, most people will be vaccinated by then. Maybe the theater situation will be even better.
Yeah.
It can't be any worse, or can it? I think it's an unfortunate situation. It bums me out. I mean, hopefully I'll be able to, hopefully we'll be vaccinated by then and I can go to the theater risk-free, but I don't see as they have a choice. I mean, that movie was supposed to come out a year ago.
Yeah, it was supposed to come out over a year ago. And here's the thing. It brings up the topic again about Disney Plus Premier Access, which means you've got to have Disney Plus. So you've got to be a subscriber to Disney Plus. And then you still have to pay another $30 on top of that for the privilege of renting it and watching it. And to me, the idea of, I don't mind spending money on a movie, but I don't like the idea of dropping $30 and not getting a theatrical experience. You know what I mean? If I'm going to drop $30, I want a night out with my friends. I want to be able to go into the theater with a movie screen and an audience, you know, cheering and laughing and clapping along and stuff like that. That's what I want. I don't want to spend $30 to sit on my ass at home doing the exact same thing everybody else has done for the last, 423 days. Just only this time you got to pay $30. I don't like that. I'm going to go see it in theaters. But Rob, you alluded to the fact that there's a lot of changes. It's not just Black Widow. There are a number of significant changes that happened here. Let's run down these changes. So, Black Widow was May 7th. It is now July 9th, and it is on Disney Plus Premier Access, which once again, being a Disney Plus member is not enough. You also got to pay an additional $30. Now, this is still theatrical. You're still going to be able, if you want, like, I am definitely going to go see this in the movie theater, just like I'm definitely going to go watch Godzilla vs. Kong in the movie theater. But it is theatrical and will be on Disney Plus Premier Access. So you got to pay the additional $30 for that. On top of that, Cruella made a similar move. They did not change release dates. Cruella is still coming out on May 28th, but now it is going to be theatrical and, of course, that Disney Plus Premier Access. Again, so you can pay you can subscribe to Disney Plus, pay $30, and you can watch it from home, or you can go to the movie theater and go watch it. But there were many other changes, Rob. You alluded to Shang-Chi. Shang-Chi has moved from July and is now going to come out on September 3rd, making some room for Black Widow. It is still a theatrical film. They're still saying, according to Deadline, it is still being maintained as a theatrical exclusive. Luca, this is a major shift, Rob. The new Pixar animated film Luca, which we just talked about the trailer a couple of weeks ago, it has now been pulled off the theatrical schedule and is just being put on Disney Plus. Not Disney Plus Premier Access. It's just being put on Disney Plus, much like Soul was. So if you're a Disney Plus member, you're just going to be able to start watching Luca on June 18th. The Ryan Reynolds film Free Guy has moved from May 21st to August 13th. That is staying theatrical. The Kingsman is also staying theatrical, but it has been bumped again by a bit from August 20th to December 2nd. Deep Water, which I know some of you guys have been looking forward to, has moved from August 13th, which is now the new release date for Free Guy, all the way to January 14th, 2022. And the Kenneth Branagh Death on the Nile gets moved again. It is moved from September 17th to February 11th, 2022. And again, all those films are staying theatrical as well. So once again, Black Widow from May 7th to July 9th, Disney Plus Premier Access plus theaters. Cruella, May 28th, staying there, but now in theaters and on Disney Plus Premier Access. Shang-Chi has moved from July to September 3rd. Luca is now going to be on Disney Plus exclusively without Premier Access on June 18th. Free Guy goes from May 21st to August 13th. The Kingsman moves from August 20th to December 2nd. Deep Water moves from August 13th to January 14th, 2022. And Death on the Nile, where is it? September, October, November, December, January, February, moves another 5 months to February 11th, 2022. And that is the new structure. Rob, which one of those, other than Black Widow, stands out to you as like, wow, that one moved? Like, which one stands out to you there?
Well, the thing that stands out to me the most is what's not on that list, and that's Eternals.
That just means they didn't move it. They didn't move it.
Does Eternals stay in November? I mean, they're pushing all the way into 2022. I'm curious. I mean, it's Shang-Chi, Black Widow then becomes, they were going to, I mean, can you imagine these Marvel movies making anywhere from $750 million to $1 billion? If they without between Shang-Chi and Black Widow, that could be $2 billion of revenue that they're not going to get because of the theatrical situation. And we all know that a great run at the box office just adds to the value of the films themselves.
Yes. Yes,
I mean, I
it
know
does.
it's all owned by Disney, but these films are already, I'm reading a lot of cynicism online toward Black Widow. Oh, it's too little, too late. This solo movie should have come out 5 years ago. But I think the movie looks fantastic. I hope it's great.
Yeah, and again, I mean, look, you go over this list, and you get things like Shang-Chi, still going to be theatrical, and it really didn't move all that much. So it went to September 3rd. Of course, it had to make a little bit of breathing room there for Black Widow. So that's it. To me, the really interesting one is Luca. Luca is the interesting one. That's the one that they just took and said, you know what, they played the same card that they played with Soul. They just say, we're just going to take it and we're just going to put it out on Disney Plus, period. I think that's an interesting move. Good to see those other ones, but I'm thinking all the other films that didn't get mentioned are just ones they're maintaining their release dates. And so for right now, they're saying that Eternals is going to hold on to that release date. And I think that is interesting. All right, guys, the question is for you. What do you think about all these bumps and moves that are going on, especially about Black Widow now being moved to July 9th? It is going to be theatrical. That's how I'm going to see it, but it's also going to be available for Disney Plus premium access if you want to drop the $30. Jump on down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Okay, guys.